I told you, and Caleb told you, that Tennessee would have still been 8-4, even if they'd have played Nico at several different points in the season. I don't think that's true anymore.
What the? What was he thinking?
Release the hounds.
The Dave Hooker Show.
Keep cool.
A presentation of offthehooksports.com.
All right, I'm just going to tell you, Tennessee beats Florida at Florida. Florida's an awful football team. I realized Cooper Mays was not there, but I think now there was a period of time, and I'm assuming that I don't want to assume anything. I believe it was after this. There's a period of time where they talked about a possible wrist issue, but I thought for the longest time that was to kind of protect Joe because that's when he wasn't playing well. So I think Tennessee beats Florida with Nico. Starting quarterback, you hold an open competition in spring, he wins it. Joe Milton transfers, you win that football game. You agree with that, Caleb?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I do not.
Now,
I don't.
Can I give you my next one?
Sure.
They beat Alabama.
No, they don't.
Yes.
They do not.
They're up by a more significant amount of points. That those red zone drives that ended up in 3 points were touchdowns against Iowa. The lead would be too big. Tennessee would beat Alabama there. Now, as far as Missouri, that was a complete collapse by the defense. I don't know that I can really tell you what happened there. And then Georgia is Georgia. But, yeah, if you had to put a gun to my head, I'd say they definitely win one more game. But if I had to make a modest bet on it, I'd say they would have won 2 more games. Hypothetical. But who knows? Maybe we'll have hypothetical gambling apps before long.
First of all, if Nico started the whole season, he wouldn't have made it to Alabama because, again, he took way too many hits and he was still too thin at the start of the year. So he would have gotten hurt by the middle of the year. I can like everybody's like anybody can get hurt. No. It wasn't that he could have gotten hurt. He would have gotten hurt.
Okay. Now wait a second. That's the same sort. There's a lot of skinny dudes that play out there. That's the same sort of thinking of, hey, that coach is terrible that our program has there, but who would you hire to fill in for him? That's a defeatist attitude. To say that you would go into a season expecting an injury is a defeatist attitude. If you want to tell me loads up for 2024, I can get you there.
Okay, look, because I got to address this because you have said it and John has said it a few times. I wish I could have addressed it yesterday because he brings up how Peyton Manning was skinny when he started in 1994. Peyton Manning had the quickest release in the history of football, so he made sure to never get hit. Nico played one game this year in the Citrus Bowl and was getting hit every other play. That would have happened without Cooper Mays at the beginning of the year. And Nico would have been banged up before he even got a chance to play Alabama. So we're not like, I'm not going to go here. Yes, they're skinny quarterbacks. There are not skinny quarterbacks playing behind a makeshift offensive line who don't get rid of the ball as quickly as they should at that time because they're young. And that was Nico's situation. He would have gotten hit a ton and you would have been stuck with Joe Milton anyway. And by the way, I'm not so sure Tennessee beats Kentucky without Joe Milton. That was Joe Milton who won that game.
Can you read the message on the message board on YouTube? Please hit the like and subscribe button. Turn your notifications on.
I did not pick the far inferior.
Oh, you got to read it. You have to read it for our audio platforms.
Caleb will defend Josh to the death here. Just let it pass. He picked the far inferior quarterback, and it's just the truth.
Twice.
First of all, I was the guy.
Three times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait. What do you mean 3? It's just twice.
Yeah. You picked Milton over Hooker. And
Milton over Nico.
And I would have opened it up in spring practice. Yes. Okay. So you're right. Sorry.
By the way, I was the only one in Tennessee Nation with the foresight to say he was wrong when he picked Milton the first time. You can track me on that. I was at another place and I was writing it then, and everybody on Rocky Top came for me. Everybody in Vol Nation was like, you don't know what you're talking about. We have the greatest quarterback coach ever, and he picked the right guy. And now the same ones of you guys want to come at me for defending his decision with Milton this time around. I was consistent. I always knew Hooker was better than Milton, and I always said Nico would be better than Milton. What I said was Nico had come on to camp extremely skinny. His conditioning was not where it needed to be. He had a great offseason to get conditioned, but at the start of the year, he was still not big enough, and it was a makeshift offensive line. And as you put Nico in, he would have taken a lot more hits than your average undersized, thin quarterback. And then it would have wrecked him for a long time. Okay, you could have.
I love your passion, but he's a tougher dude than that. I've covered these.
Nobody who's 6'6" and not 200 pounds could have withstood those number of hits.
I think he was 200 by the beginning of the year, don't you? I mean, he'd been on campus since December.
Maybe 200 right in. But stop bringing up, and people are going to bring up smaller guys. Stop bringing up smaller guys. They did not play behind this makeshift offensive line. Okay? Cooper Mays was hurt the first 5 weeks of the year.
Our poll question brought to you by Rick Terry Jewelry Design. They want to be your jeweler. Looking for affordable game day jewelry, some hoops balls in action you can get taken care of there. How about the Fire Opals, a Tennessee tradition? Go to rickterryjewelry.com, rickterryjewelry.com. And the poll question, I may have made it too easy. I may have made a mistake. So I said Nico will be blank compared to Hendon Hooker. I've got worse, comparable, better, much, much better. Several thousands of people voted already. What do you think?
I think most people said better.
Most people did say better. 48%. What do you think's next? Comparable or much, much better?
Comparable is probably next.
Comparable, 32%.
The only reason
much,
I say
much
that,
better, 18%, and worse, 2% for the record.
I will say this: as high as I am on Nico, and he will be better than Hooker, I'm going to give Hooker enough respect to say I don't think it's possible to be much, much better than Hooker. Is that fair, Dave? Like, I can't say
he almost had a perfect season. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to be much, much better than Hooker. Just like, by the way, as great as Peyton was, I don't think Peyton Manning was much, much better than Heath Schuler. He was just better than Heath Schuler.
Okay, so is the only way that Nico can be better, that being said, because they almost maxed out some of the statistical categories. I mean, they were running out of time where they could have scored more points. So that being said, does Nico have to win a championship to come out from under Hendon Hooker's shadow one day?
Or a Heisman.
I don't think Heisman would do it. If Nico comes in and out of this program without winning at least an SEC championship, that ain't good.
The meaning behind an SEC championship is dead, Dave, after this year.
Well, but still, it means something to me. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but it means something to me.
Yeah, because you're old now.
Okay, but Peyton won an SEC championship, so I think that says something.
That had value back in 1997.
I agree, but what? So does he have to win a national championship? Then what is it? If he can't statistically best team because things all fell into place in 2022, then how?
All-American, make a semifinal, like make it to the Final Four one year. That puts him ahead of Hendon Hooker. By the way, that would be a disappointment. I still think he should win a national championship and a Heisman. He's a disappointment if he doesn't win both. But I mean, I will.
How do you know that Tennessee doesn't come back and beat South Carolina and they don't make the Final Four by beating South Carolina? And then if Nico did that, it would be the exact same thing. I don't think that's a significant difference whatsoever because I think Tennessee would have come back and played well in that game had Hooker not gotten hurt.
I think they would have. I said assuming everything's healthy. Again, if Nico gets hurt, that I give him a break. I give Hooker a break because it was a big letdown to lose to South Carolina for Tennessee, but Hooker got hurt. You give him a break. I'm with you, Dave. I've said from the start, I'm not so sure Tennessee doesn't come back and beat South Carolina in that fourth quarter if Hendon Hooker's fully healthy. So that's I just don't think it's possible to be much, much better than Hendon Hooker. I think it's possible to be better than Hendon Hooker.
No, he maxed out some of the stats. There's no question about that. Portions of the program brought to you by our friends, and I remind you to support our sponsors. That's why we are here. Tennessee Cider Company, the original hard cider of the Smoky Mountains. Use the promo code HAT, that's HAT, to receive some free swag with your cider order. Available most anywhere in the U.S. tncidercompany.com, tncidercompany.com, and I think they have a number 27 cider, which would be referring to Caleb.
Al Wilson.
There you go. I think I saw that out there.
And doesn't James Pierce wear that number now?
I don't know, but they need to take that away. That needs to be retired.
They need to retire Al Wilson's number. There should not be another legend wearing
There should
that
be a
number.
statue of Philip Fulmer up there too.
There should, but Al Wilson's number should absolutely be retired. The fact that it's and we've talked that I don't want to get on a tangent on this, but I'm sorry, he's a greater Vol than Reggie White. You guys can come for me on that. I don't care. I would take Al Wilson's career at Tennessee over Reggie White's career any day of the week, and I wouldn't even think about it.
Well, I mean, Reggie only had a great senior year, which he got drafted over. So I don't really think a lot of people would argue with you on that.
But Reggie White's number is retired, and Al Wilson's isn't.
Oh, well, yeah, that's because they made up all the goofy rules to get them retired.